Most people look for followers. How many people look for leaders? Because a follower gonna tell you whatever you want to hear.
That's right.
So you all should know right there, man, leave that alone. Don't be afraid to cut people off that don't mean you no good. I don't care who they are, family members, friends, could have been around. Because my thing is, everybody has 24 hours. Most people want you to be successful until you're successful. That's when they hate you. That's when the jealousy kick in, the self-hate kick in, because nobody wants you to get there before them. Think about it, I grew up in the project. You think people in the project wanted to see me make it? Instead of saying, you know what, this kid made it out here, he one of us. No, man, well, he ain't all that. Really. I was the best person I could be when I was there, and I represented the way I need to represent it. I was an A student.
Are you really? Wow.
Yeah, I grew up in the hood. I didn't want what everybody else wanted. Even though I know this is my environment, I was always thinking, I live in a mansion. Because I know that's where I was going at. While they was thinking, oh, I live in the ghetto, I'm going to die here. I'm like, no, I'm not about to die here. I'm about to make it out here because I already seen it, that I'm supposed to be living in a mansion. So I'm already dreaming big, thinking outside the box, looking at something else. I'm not looking at these bad conditions and thinking, oh, this is for me. I'm like, no, this ain't for me. I wasn't supposed to be here. I'm here because of my family that came before me, but now I need to break this curse. And so people don't realize these curses are generational, especially when you come out of poverty. The only way you could break it is you have to do it. You got to be the one. I've always looked at my grandparents and told them, look, I'm gonna get us up out of here. And so that was before.
How old were you when you would tell them something like that?
7 years old. I used to tell my grandparents, my grandmother said, baby, don't worry about it. We gonna be all right. I said, no, grandma, I'm gonna get us up out of here. And I always thought it was basketball. So I worked on my game to get to college. I wasn't even thinking about the NBA, even though I know I wanted to make it to the NBA, but I'm like, look, if I get education, then I'll be able to do something. I'll be able to get some better resources. And when I got to college, my coach was like, why you so happy, son? I said, Coach, I've been sleeping on the floor all my life. I never had a bed till I got my own bed when I went to college. And so, but I never was angry and upset. I'm like, that motivated me. Like, I'm gonna change this. And so my grandmother had 12 kids. So me and my brother, that's 16 people in a 3-bedroom project. But we was happy. We had the best, neatest house in the ghetto. Whenever the mayor or something come, they come look at our house. We had grass, we had flowers in the backyard. We wasn't living like we was in the ghetto. Our mindset, and that come from my grandfather. So when you look at the military thing with No Limit, with the camouflage, my grandfather always told me, because he fought in the Vietnam War, and he said, son, they were supposed to give me 10 grand when I come back so I could go put down payment on the house, and they didn't do it. So he said, son, you have to start your own army. You have to get your own business. And that's where my company came from, No Limit. And that's where the whole camouflage came from. My grandfather, Big Daddy, Claude Miller. And so that's how I built my brand. With the whole camouflage and the No Limit thing, No Limit Soldiers, that's where it started from. And then my grandfather passed, I was with him, and he died in the VA hospital where they gave him some blood thinning medicine for another patient. And so my grandmother ended up getting $280,000 on a life insurance thing, and she gave everybody in the family $10,000. I took my $10,000 and opened up No Limit Records, the retail store.
At 19.
At 19.
You got me fired up.
You know, and that's what we should. We should have people that's gonna push us, yes, not run with us. I don't want nobody to run with me. I'm tired of people you don't have to pat me on my back. No, come put the work in with me so we can celebrate together and 2% make it. So just imagine, that's how hard you gotta work. So anybody that's doing something, imagine you thinking in your mind is only 2% gonna make it with what I'm trying to do. Whether it's an entrepreneur, whether I'm gonna go run one of these big Fortune 500 companies, but guess what? You gotta start at the bottom. Yeah. Go be the janitor. Go work in the mailroom. Don't cheat your way in nothing. Like, you can't cheat your way in life. So for me, all the fears you're gonna feel. You don't learn from wins, you learn from losses. And so if you take that, you're gonna be great, because that's all I do. Because people always see all the great things, but look, what about the Master P that had to live in the back of the store where I started at, that didn't have nothing, was hungry sometimes? You know, I lived with my grandparents, because people make all kinds of excuses. Don't make excuses.
You lived in the store?
Yeah, I lived in the store. At 19, I had my first record store. That was No Limit Record Store. That is a retail record store. When you're good to people, God will bless you. That's why you see on my shirt and say God made. I'm not self-made. I'm God-made. And so if it wasn't for that man up above, I wouldn't be here. I come out of the rootless projects that you ever could come from in New Orleans, the Calio projects. But my mindset wasn't like the other people that was in there. My grandparents gave me opportunity to go to school, sent me to this Catholic school to where I learned who God was. So I had different values. Even though we was poor, me playing basketball was able to get me on the team to get a scholarship, then get me to college. But I had to be driven by it. And they always say, faith without work is dead. And so when I realized that, I said, you know what? I got to get out here and work. So when you asked me earlier, like, what keep you going? I got to keep working. Long as we here, our job is not done. And I tell people all the time, where all the greatest treasures are, in the graveyard. People that never finish what they need to do. They think they got so much time.
That's good. Mm-hmm.
And so I don't live on that. It's all about having good people. And when you see people around me, you know, they got to be good. You know, I mean, if you see the lady that came in here with me, that's my business partner.
Yeah. Very sharp lady.
So think about it. Yeah. So, but she don't get the recognition that she deserves, but we don't care about that. So it's like, okay, I don't care about color. She white, I'm black. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Like, we got good people. Yeah. And so telling you, like, that's them the type of people I want around. So when I talk about Christy and I talk about like what we created, like, it ain't just me created. We created this together. We created this brand. And so we get out here and go to these companies, but we don't take no for an answer. We said, know what no this to us? Another time.
Another time. Later.
Another time. We be back. Like Ernest Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. You know what I'm saying? We ain't taking no. They close the door, we coming through the window, we going through a chimney. Either she gonna get through one of them doors, I'm gonna get through, we're gonna get to somebody. So it's like, what do I do while I'm here right now? Wow. And what I'm doing right now is I wanna be the Muhammad Ali of the product game. I want to be able to create brands. So I tell people all the time, I don't judge your wealth by how much you have. I judge it by how much you give.
Oh, wow.
And that's the difference. Go look at it. We've been giving for over 24 years. And it's getting bigger and bigger because we're doing the right thing. That's why God keep blessing us. Even when the devil don't want to see you with it or throw stones there. Because I say, look what they did Jesus. So I know what they're going to do me. They don't want, they're going to say, oh, well, no black man has never done this. I told Snoop, we the king of the breakfast food. We got oatmeal, we got all kind of stuff. We got the Mama Snoop products and stuff. So think about it. We are growing and we're going to constantly build more. I'm just looking at, okay, if we took over the music industry, why come we can't take over the breakfast food industry?
Of course.
The only thing that stop you is your mind, your mentality. I don't have a mindset of, I can't do something.
I know.
So that's what No Limit is. I named my company No Limit because there's going to be no limit to my success. I call myself Master P because I'm a master whatever I do. I grew up in poverty and people don't realize education is so important. Everybody think it's about money. But when you look in the Bible, the richest man in the world prayed for wisdom. So knowledge and understanding is so important, and that's what I want to pass down to my kids. So when you look at Mercy and Hersey is at Louisville. This is his first year in college. Mercy, he's a junior in high school. But I'm telling them, we got to stop creating dumb athletes. And my thing is, what happens if you get hurt? So you need to understand credit, you need to understand banking, you need to understand economics. And so my parents couldn't teach me that growing up. My parents had to work. All we was taught, you have to work, go to work. Yeah. And I'm saying, you know what? Get your education. Everything else gonna come. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to go run a company. When I start looking at African Americans make up 1/10 of 1% of CEOs in these Fortune 500 companies. And I said, we need to change that narrative.
1/10 of 1%?
1/10 of 1%. So that's why I go so hard, and that's why I educate my kids. I'm like, it can't just be about me. The next generation has to understand this. And so I realized as a father, my job is to create future leaders. And even with what I do as an entrepreneur, I feel like that's my best job now, creating future leaders. Don't be afraid to start with humble beginnings. That's why I'm so humble now, because I started with humble beginnings. Nobody gave me that I had to work for, so I appreciate it. And that's the message we got to give to the next generation. Appreciate every opportunity. Go create opportunity. See that word consistency? I tell people all the time, right? So consistency is the key. That's where the dedication got to kick in, sacrifice. But consistency is what's going to get you to the next level. is doing something every day. And people might not even see the results, but you know, I'm doing this every day.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get there, no matter what. No matter who tell me no. Like you talked about Stephen A. Smith. And when I talked to Stephen A. Smith about my sons, he was like, oh yeah, they could play. But how many people really believe? And then, you know, when you start capturing the moment and seeing like my kids get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I know the Ball family did it. Why we can't do it? Mm-hmm. We seen this happen. Mm-hmm. And so now people are starting to believe this. This is our message to the world, to make the non-believers believe. That's what we do. My kids, me, we are going to make the non-believers believe. They don't have to do it right now. It might be 10 years from now. We're going to put in that much work till you be like, man, I remember those kids. I remember this man. I remember him coming. Oh, everywhere you go, you got a cereal. People say, well, why you promote your stuff? Guess what? If you own it, every chance you get, you should be promoting it.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you're a real businessman, you're a real entrepreneur. So what's going to make me want to buy it if you don't believe it?